Alright, people, we got some bad news today. Not the worst news we could have gotten, but bad news nonetheless. Percy Harvin will require some hip surgery and will be out 3 to 4 months. So the first 2, 3 months of the season, basically. I'd expect him to make a return somewhere between week 9 and week 13, based on what we know. So yeah, not really surprised by this announcement. I've been following the reports the last several days, and when I heard about it yesterday officially, I was like, that's kind of a bummer, but I kind of expected it. If you looked at the way the reports were being worded, it's not surprising. So now we've got Sidney Rice, Golden Tate, and Doug Baldwin, and the way I see it, we should feel lucky that we have those guys because they were our number 1, number 2, and number 3 receivers last year. We did quite well, so the fact that we have those guys to step in this situation, maybe they're not the ideal guys you want at number 1, number 2, number 3, but they are capable of doing that. They did it last year for a decent offense, an offense that was quite good later in the season in the playoffs. Took a while to get going, but it was, it worked pretty well when it got down to it at the end of the season. Sidney Rice will never be what we paid him to be. He'll never live up to that big contract, but he is capable of playing the number 1. He's talented, and I think he'll have his best season with us this year because he's healthy and he's got a good quarterback, a good veteran quarterback, non-rookie quarterback. Although, Sidney Rice is actually in Switzerland getting some knee treatments done. From what I've heard, it's nothing that'll cause him to miss any time or be hindered in any way. And then we got Golden Tate. He'll never be a Pro Bowler, but he has some rare talents. He has some skills that a lot of wide receivers don't have. His ability to get yards after the catch and break tackles is rare. And I trust him totally with that number 2 role. I think he's a badass number 2. And Doug Baldwin, put him in the slot. He's no Wes Welker, but he's capable of doing that. They're not great wide receivers, those 3 guys, but they are capable of playing those roles and being part of a productive offense. So, that's the first thing I want to say about this, because I know a lot of people are freaking out now. Fans and non-fans are kind of treating this like it's a big deal, and it is. Percy Harvin was going to be the new toy of this offense, somebody who could really help pile it on in games. Like, when we needed one big play to break the game open, he could be there for us. He was going to be somebody who, instead of us scoring, maybe 24 points, maybe we're scoring 34 points because we have Percy out there and he makes some big plays and he creates big plays for other people. He's somebody who, when we're down by 2 scores late in the game and we need to score fast, maybe he's the guy who ends up making that big game-saving play. Whatever. He was going to be a luxury for this offense, a very good luxury. And to lose him sucks, and to lose his kick return sucks because he's a good kick returner. Maybe he's a punt returner too, I don't know. But one thing I really want to get across with this is that with very, very rare exceptions, wide receivers do not make and break an offense, which is why, while I do understand this may limit the offense a little bit from what they could have been, there can be no blaming Percy Harvin if the season goes off the tracks, blaming the Percy Harvin injury. That's just doesn't make any sense to me. Percy Harvin, we didn't have him last year and we did okay on offense, especially at the end of the year. We actually did pretty great. Wide receivers don't make a team as long as you have a good quarterback like we do with Russell Wilson, and we should be able to find other ways to win games without Percy. Percy is, like I said, he's a luxury. He's somebody who can pull a big play out of nothing. He's somebody who to help you extend a already good offense into a great one. He's a weapon, but I don't think of him, or really any wide receiver, as somebody who the offense absolutely has to have out there. When you think about injuries that single-handedly could derail a team, you think of great quarterbacks, maybe a couple running backs, but not too many. A couple of them, though, would probably, they hold the fate of the team in their hands. maybe some pass rushers or middle linebackers. But when you're talking about wide receivers should not make or break any team. They might be able to contribute a extra win throughout the course of the season. They might help extend leads that you already have. They might help lock up games. But wide receivers, they're not making or breaking teams. The one exception I can think of is back in 2005 when the Vikings got rid of Randy Moss and Culpepper went from an MVP candidate to basically somebody who was out of the league in like 3-4 years or something like that. So yeah, I can't see this as something that's going to completely derail this season. I don't see it as that. It's going to take a few more of these injuries for me to go, the season's in the tank. Now, I will say that, different injuries of a minor scale can certainly add up, but Percy Harvin, he's a great luxury, and it sucks to not have him for the first half to the first 3/4 of the season, but not something that we can hang the season on if things go bad. So I'm just going to say that right now. However, the other angle, and one angle that I mentioned a little bit in the video 2 days ago, was buyer's remorse, because Percy Harvin is not just somebody who showed up here this offseason. We had to give up some stuff to get him. We had to pay him $10 million a year, which I don't really care about because it's not my money. It's the money of the richest NFL owner right now by far, in Paul Allen. But we did also give up 3 draft picks to get him. You had a 3rd-round pick, a 7th-round pick, and then, of course, the big one, which was the 1st-round pick in this most recent draft. So there are going to be some fans, and quite a few non-fans as well, who talk about, oh, do we regret not just using those picks on assets that, we get to play for us at a much cheaper cost? So I thought about that because it's absolutely a fair question to ask. And I went back and I looked at that draft. With the pick that the Vikings got from us, Vikings got from the Seahawks, they took a Xavier Rhodes, cornerback out of Florida State, and I certainly wouldn't want him, but I'm looking at this list of players who went immediately after that 25th overall pick, and, you have Dantone Jones, DeAndre Hopkins, Cordell Patterson. You go down the list, and there's one player that catches my eye as somebody that I kind of think maybe the Seahawks would have benefited from getting, and that is Sylvester Williams, the defensive tackle out of North Carolina. But I'm not exactly jumping up and down going, I really wish we had Sylvester Williams. I think he's a guaranteed stud. That's not really something that I'm feeling. So I don't look at that pick we used in that trade with any, regrets, at least right now. I mean, Alec Ogletree could end up being a 14-time Pro Bowler. We'll see. But what I will say is that the only thing that really made me think was the Vikings selected Sharif Floyd 2 picks above where our pick would have been. Could we have talked the Vikings into letting us trade up to take Sharif Floyd? Or could we have talked the Atlanta Falcons into doing that trade? Or, excuse me, the Rams to possibly do that, or, something like that. That would be one thing that would really make me do a double take, because in spite of everything we've heard about Sharif Floyd, I think he's going to be a stud. But assuming we couldn't have moved up, I don't see anybody there that I'm like, I really wish we had that guy. So, buyer's remorse, I'm not there yet. We got to see what Percy does when he gets back and what he does in future seasons. If this turns into an Andrew Bynum thing, absolutely it's going to be buyer's remorse, but I appreciate the effort the organization showed in going out to get him. And at this point, I'm still going to take a wait-and-see position and see how it goes. So yeah, Percy Harvin missing the first half of the season, but I still view this team as one of the best in the league. I still view this team as a team that should go out there and win a lot of games. And I could see this affecting our offense in a negative way, but I don't see it being a disaster by any stretch of the imagination. So let's just cross our fingers for health the rest of the training camp and preseason. Yeah, that's what I got. Let's just hope things go well for the rest of these OTA training camp practices. And See you later.